Hey everyone, welcome out to episode 123 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. It's me, it's Mark, I'm back, and thanks for everyone who checked out episode 122, which I recorded before I left for the wedding and the honeymoon. Thank you to everyone who was like, oh, all the congratulations, everything else. I had a great time. Definitely, a milestone in my life, personally, and just, it was great to see all my friends and my family. I live, almost 3,000 miles away from everybody, so it was great to just have that time. It was a small wedding, just, family, close friends. It was a great time. Yeah. Honeymoon wise, I bought a lot of stuff. So later on in this episode, if you're watching on video, it's going to cut over to a video that I already recorded going over all the stuff I bought from a nerdy standpoint while I was on the honeymoon, while we were on the honeymoon. So that's going to be interjected in here. If you're listening, obviously I still go over everything talking about it, so you could still know what I got. I got a lot going on in this episode. Talk about some games. I picked up a whole bunch of comics because there's a nice stack waiting for me at my local comic book shop, and I finally decided to go in and get my comics because it's been a couple weeks. Actually, it's been like a month. So I picked up all my comics, and then I want to talk about some things because there's a lot of Comic-Con, and now San Diego Comic-Con happened the same weekend as my wedding, so I was on Twitter keeping up with everything. And then even today, as we're recording this, there was a whole bunch of major news yesterday about Warner Brothers and DC canceling of stuff. I'm going to talk about it. And then we're on the cusp of, obviously, the summer and going into fall convention season. Going to be talking about some conventions as well, mainly Power Morphicon, Crunchyroll Expo, the current issues going on with TwitchCon and everything else. So that's going to be touched on in this as well. But there's something missing, because if you see the logo for the podcast and everything else, I always have headphones. RIP to my Plantronics, that Rig 17 that have lasted probably 7 years now. I go through headphones a lot for some reason. My Atlas Elite ones died after like a year. They're really fragile, but given my mic is HyperX. I got the HyperX Cloud 2 new headphones. Oh, and they're red. They match the mic. Oh. Let me pull these down so they're, it's complete. These are comfortable too. I got them yesterday via Amazon same day delivery because Prime is delicious. But I will go over my issues with Amazon when I talk about TwitchCon. So that's going to be a little later on. That's called a little foreshadowing. A little season ahead of time before the meal is done. So, let's not waste any time. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, you could see on my TV right here, I am playing Digimon Survive. That game is out. It's real. It's a thing. I love it. I love it so much. It's combining basically visual novels, Persona stuff, and strategy like Disgaea or Final Fantasy Tactics all into one game. It's delicious. Do I still think the Cyber Sleuth gameplay mechanics of that and Hacker's Memory are better to an extent because it was like a real JRPG where you got to run around and this and that, but I am really enjoying this game. I played it a lot on the plane because there was a long plane ride, and I read a lot of manga, which is all inside of the video later on that's in this that I talk about what I got for my haul, so to speak. So, because obviously I've been busy, obviously, for the last 2 weeks. I haven't really watched any TV shows. Water. And I did, however, the Friday before the wedding, my friend Billy, who was my best man at the wedding, was like, hey, I'm going to take you, we're going to go see Nope, we're going to get some food, and so we saw Nope, and I am going to say this now, I really, really enjoyed that film. That was a good-ass movie. It was very entertaining, definitely caught me off guard with a lot of the plot-related stuff. I'm not going to spoil it. I'll probably do a full review and another video slash audio just because I don't want it to be in this episode because I don't want to spoil it right now. I'd rather have it be spoiled on the side where you guys have control if you want to check out the spoilers or not, you know? So that was really all I actually watched. Other than from like a TV and movie standpoint, other than that, you know, just, yeah, because of all the travel. However, when I did get back, we got back Saturday, and Sunday on Crunchyroll, we got Food OPI, the Kamen Rider Double anime, which is based on the manga, which is a sequel to the series called Kamen Rider Double, and it is so good. I love this first. If you haven't seen Double, you can still enjoy this the show Food OPI, this anime. You can still enjoy it if you haven't seen the show. If you have seen the show, it's kind of like it gives you a little extra because you already know these characters and their personalities, and you already know the world that it takes place in. But this anime is still good for those who haven't. It doesn't really leave you being like, well, I don't understand anything that's going on. No, it gives you the story, so you already know what's up, and it's really good. First episode dropped on Sunday. Next episode obviously is next week. So if you haven't and you have Crunchyroll Premium, check it out. It's worth it. You will like the animation style is so good. Like the OP is so good. Like everything about it, I'm like, wow. Like in Double, I enjoy Double. It was one of my top seasons. Not my favorite, but like this is a good companion. Plus, if everyone watches it and enjoys it and it's get those ratings, you know, maybe Toei will be like, hey, you know what? Maybe we got something going on here. Maybe in the West they do enjoy Kamen Rider, and then we'll get more stuff. So yeah, but yeah. So I'm just gonna jump right into some of the Comic-Con stuff. At first, I was kind of like, oh man, I'm gonna miss San Diego Comic-Con, but obviously being married, I was like, hey, that's more important, obviously. But with the Comic-Con stuff, I was like, man, after looking at a lot of stuff that was announced, I was like, and some of the exclusive merch, which obviously over the last couple of years stuff, you can still get the merch online. So I really don't have that FOMO and that I didn't get to go to Comic-Con. Like, realistically, the only thing that I'm mad that I didn't get to go, because I do have press passes, was I don't have the Comic-Con badge to put up on my lanyard. That's probably the number one thing I'm like, oh man, that upset me a bit. But other than that, I'm like, you know what, I miss Comic-Con. It's whatever. I'll go next year when something good happens, because DC just literally pumping out Shazam and Black Adam. Like, Like, I'll probably watch Shazam. Black Adam, I don't care for. Like, the only thing about that movie that I'm actually intrigued to see is Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. That's about it. Other than that, nothing about the movie is actually appealing to me. And I'm actually a fan of Black Adam. So, yeah, that says a lot. And then the Marvel stuff, they're like, oh, look at all this other stuff. And there's some trailers I'm going to do reactions to and breakdowns for, so I'm going to save some of it, but like Wakanda Forever, I have issues with. What else? The Black Adam trailer, the Shazam trailer I liked, but I had questions after seeing it. And yeah, like those are the main three like comic book movies everyone was talking about. Like, you know, we didn't get anything for the Flash film. Warner Brothers canceled the Batgirl film, which I think is a horrible idea. You spent $100 million on this movie and you're just gonna not release it anywhere. And it's one of those things where it's like, you had Brendan Fraser as the villain as Firefly, and I'm like, that's actually a good villain. Like, we've never got, like, come on, I want to see that, you know. And we had Michael Keaton returning as Batman. I'm like, listen, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, maybe the final cut of it just wasn't, you know, doing good. I know they did some test audiences and it didn't fare well with them. And my thing is, there is a narrative, obviously, on YouTube. You know who the YouTubers are. They're just gonna be like, oh well, you know, they race swap Batgirl, that's why it's gonna fail. And I'm like, I hate being on this soapbox because I've done it with Miles Morales. I've done it with all these other ones. And I'm like, listen, it's not the race swapping, it's not the tokenization, it's not this wokeness, it's not all these buzzwords that are used to draw on a certain demographic to watch your videos and the opinions. Chalk it up to what it is: bad writing, bad editing, bad directing. Also look into the fact and give specifics. That's what I do when I have an issue with something. I'm not gonna be like, well, it's woke, that's why it sucks. It's like, no, this is the writing part of it. This is plot things and inconsistencies. This is what's wrong with it. Not tokenization, not, you know, race swapping, not all this weird political agenda stuff that everyone is using as buzzwords and trigger words to bring in a certain audience to agree with them, but also to bring in the hate watchers. If you hate watch me, cool. Like, I don't understand that. I don't hate watch anybody. That doesn't make any sense to me. But bring in the what is the issue. I did this with Resident Evil. I've done this with, like I said, Miles Morales. I've done this with video games. I will always say, I'm not going to use these words as a scapegoat and an easy pass to just say something is bad. I'm going to tell you what in the writing didn't work. What about the character development was off? This is what made it not good. This is what ultimately hindered it and caused it to fail. Not, it's woke, that's why it sucks. No. Like Miles Morales right now. When I go over my comics, like I think issue 39 or 40 just came out. And I'm going to say this right now. Miles Morales Spider-Man has really been a jumbled mess since the prelude to the Clone Saga. And the Clone Saga tried to course correct, but then post that, it's like they kind of hinted at another like thing, and then it was like gone from a plot point, and then they're like, oh, well, let's do this instead. It's like, I don't know. It just really started to get inconsistent with the writing. And it's almost like when you write a comic for so long, you kind of just, you know, you're not going to bat 1,000 every writing. Like, not, and it's not just Miles Morales, a lot of others, like, you could even say, like, X-Men. X-Men's been all over the place. Like, Hickman was doing such a good job, House and Power X. We brought back this stuff. Then we had Marauders, Excalibur, New Mutants, and this and that. And it's like, I wasn't reading any of those. I was reading the main X-Men run, Hickman, because he started this universe back up. He brought X-Men to prominence. And even then it started to go, Same with Thor, Donny Cates' Thor, post-War of the Realms. Thor, so good. So fucking good. And then we had him also bring back Hulk. Also really freaking good. I'm like, yeah, those are good writing. But like before that, it was still the writing before they took over and they were doing their thing was kind of lackluster. You know, and sometimes it takes a fresh story, or it takes not even a fresh story, a consistent plot line, a consistent story in progressing it instead of, you know, it's not like a Seinfeld type situation. I always, and I don't use this analogy or this style in the podcast, but I do it when I have conversations with friends. Seinfeld, you can watch any episode you want in any order sometimes. And you get a complete story in that issue, and then in that episode, then you can watch another episode. You can watch them almost in any order you want. But with comic books, that's not always the case. But sometimes I feel like, especially with Miles Morales, sometimes it's like if they lead into each other and you're reading comics in chronological order, in numerical order, you're just like, well, this happened last just year. Why isn't this happening? And this, like, did that even happen? Does it matter? It's like, no, with comics, you want to tell a story. Unless it's like, you know, like a comic where it's different stories every issue and stuff like that. There are comics out there like that, which are decent and pretty good. But it's like, come on now. Like, continuity should matter. Consistency. That's all I want from comic books. I don't care what the thematic of it is. Like, I like a lot of obscure comics. I like a lot of indie ones that a lot of people get shocked when I tell them, like, hey, this is what I like, and they're really good, and they have no characters that I personally can identify with, but it's a good story. I'm reading fiction, and I think sometimes that's what a lot of people are losing in the comic book industry, is that it's fiction. Give us fiction. That's why, you know, you look behind me, my manga shelf got bigger Like, because I've been buying and reading a lot of manga. I bought like 12 volumes while I was on my honeymoon, you know? So it's this is the issue I have. So like with Batgirl being canceled, I'm like, well, they must have saw something that wasn't working with a test audience. Because when they first announced it, we had that weird, really bad like set screen like photo. I was like, I can't tell the suit. And then they showed the suit. I was like, oh, we're going with that suit. Okay, more modern suit with the zip up jack like style. I was like, that's cool. That is a good suit. So I was like, all right. Do I know anything about the actress who's playing Batgirl? No. Am I gonna pretend to? No. But then we saw some set photos of set Brendan Fraser's Firefly. Then we heard, Michael Keaton's Batman's in it, and I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. I would have gone and saw this film. I really would have. Well, if it was gonna be on HBO Max, I would have gone to my couch and turned on my TV and watched this film. Would I have gone all the way to the theater? No, theater's over there. Couch is right there. Obviously, I'm gonna pick the closer one because my cardio is ass right now. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing. I was intrigued enough to check this film out, and it's supposed to say it's 100 million in this. And the funny thing is, Batgirl with no. That's why I thought it was funny. We got no trailer, no real announcements about the movie for a while. That's why I was like, something seems up. And then also at the same time, we got nothing from The Flash, and we know what's going on with Ezra Miller right now. And I'm just like, oh, we're gonna cancel Batgirl because it didn't do good with test audiences, even though we spent 100 million. It's like, well, what's going on with the whole, Flash film? That's the thing, right? And then keeping it with Warner Brothers and DC, my favorite thing was people were getting Henry Cavill trending because someone made a fake rumor that Henry Cavill was going to be at the DC and Warner Brothers panel because he's coming back as Superman and I'm like, listen, we're never going to get Man of Steel 2. I wish we would, because Man of Steel is one of my favorite Warner Brothers DC films. I really like Michael as Zod was so damn good. He was a good Zod. And as we know, my top 3 favorite villains in DC are Lex Luthor, General Zod, and Sinestro. Top 3. Obviously, if I want to go in deep, I may do a whole video of rank one of those like tier makers and rank every DC villain, because I've read a lot of comics. I know a lot of the villains. I may do that one of these days, because obviously Brainiac is on that list as well for some of my favorites, because in Lobo and a few others. Black Adam, when he was a villain, obviously. But yeah, so I think it's just really weird. Obviously, I'm not diving into the rumor mill on everything going on with Warner Brothers and DC, but we know since, there's a new head honcho in charge, there's been some drastic changes with Warner Brothers, HBO, and Discover and whatnot. So I'm firmly believing that we're going to see a lot more stuff get canned and a lot more announcements and a lot more changes. I wouldn't be surprised if HBO Max gets rebranded to a different name. Maybe they'll call it Discover HBO and Max. I don't know. Who knows? And so yeah, that was some of the Comic-Con stuff. That was the main thing. I was like, okay, this is intriguing. The DC stuff. I'm always more intrigued with DC and Warner Brothers stuff than I am with Marvel. Because Marvel just flat out be like, here's all our movies for the next 4 years. And then you're like, okay. Whereas DC, it's like, you never know what you're going to get with DC. Like, Blue Beetle wrapped, and I was really hoping we would have got a Blue Beetle trailer. Blue Beetle is probably one of the more hyped comic book movies that I cannot wait to see compared to all the companies. All of them. Like, any comic book company that has movies in the works right now, Blue Beetle is number 1 on my list right now. Like, that I want to see. I'm a Blue Beetle fan. I'm hoping eventually we'll get a Booster Gold film. I think that would be also amazing, because Booster Gold is one of my favorites, also up there with Green Lantern, which I'm really concerned for the Green Lantern show right now. I feel like that Green Lantern series is canceled. It was announced how long ago, and we've gotten nothing for it. No cast list, nothing. I think Green Lantern is, from a TV show standpoint, is canceled. I'm hoping if it's canceled, it's because it's getting a movie. And as much as I love Hal Jordan even though Kyle's my favorite Green Lantern, I really want it to be John Stewart. I really do. I think from an on-screen story standpoint, you can get the drama, the character development. There's a lot of depth to that character. A lot of people just know John Stewart from the Justice League, series, this and that. As someone who's obviously a big Green Lantern fan and has a majority of the comics, a lot of the comic arcs, this and that, there's some good John Stewart stories to be had and character stuff. And I'm like, give me John Stewart in a movie. So yeah, that's kind of like my Comic-Con stuff for now. I want to go over my comics really quick because yeah, I got a lot and I want to go over all of them. So I still had a board and bag on which I'm going to do probably after I'm done recording this while this renders and edits and whatnot. So right off the bat, I knew I wasn't going to do this, but after my video for the What If Miles Morales was Thor, I had to see what the big deal was for this whole big crossover of all these different Miles, because I got the What If Miles Morales number 5, which is where they all team up. And I was like, okay, I'm just curious what kind of dumpster fire they're giving us with that. And then, anyone who knows me knows I love Ultraman. I love my tokusatsu. And from the creators of Ultraman, this is actually from, I don't even know what comic company this is. It doesn't even say. But from Subaraya, I got, I think it's Happy Tank. Is Happy Tank the... What is the publisher? Phase 6? Sure. I got issue 1 of Red Man, but it's called Episode 1, Astron. I got these 2 covers. Oh, they're so good. There's multiple covers. I forgot these were coming out, and my comic book shop like put all the covers in my box for me, and I was like, I'm just gonna get 2. Next up, we got this big boy, this big, thick Godzilla best of from IDW. Obviously, kaijus, toku, stuff like that, all my favorite. So I read these digital because, I was on Rollover Queen's YouTube channel. We talked about how to fix the Power Rangers comic from Boom Studios. If you haven't already, go check out Rollover Queen. Go check out his channel. Check out his shit. He's doing a great job. And I had so much fun talking. We talked like 2+ hours about Power Ranger comics, how to fix it, the sales issues. Broke it down, and we're going to be collabing again for issue 100 because we are on the charge to 100 for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And so I have Mighty Morphin 21 and Power Rangers 21. So we're vastly approaching 100. I believe 22 of Mighty Morphin came out today, so I got to go pick that up. And to continue the trend, I got Power Rangers Unlimited number 1. Gotta check that out. It's the Countdown to Ruin. I usually wait for the unlimited ones to be done, and then I'm gonna read them. And then gotta keep the trend because I buy a lot of Power Ranger stuff. Now this is just 2 different covers. I got cover A and cover B for Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 4. I really like this cover. Cover A is alright, but cover B I like because it does the thing down the middle. Dragon Zord on one side, Godzilla on the other. I'm like, yeah, that's a cover. That is so good. And then I of course had to get the summer special for Stranger Things. I love my adaptation comics. They add to the world. Like you got like that's why I get a lot of video games on, like Life is Strange, Stranger Things. I'll get other tie-in like comics into games and into TV shows because they just add to this world. It has to be a show or a video game that I really enjoy. And because I already brought it up, I got issue 39 and 40 of Miles Morales Spider-Man. I will be checking these out because, like I said, I enjoyed Miles Morales Spider-Man for a while. Like Saladin Ahmed, from a writing standpoint, he was doing really good with the writing. He's not a bad writer. I just think something about Miles Morales right now is just not there's gonna be backlash. They're putting Miles Morales in too much stuff. He's being oversaturated to the point where it's starting to turn fans off to it. And I'm not coming from the standpoint of someone who's purposely finding a reason to bash Miles Morales. I'm coming to this as a point of someone who actually enjoys reading Miles Morales Spider-Man. Who enjoyed it, who's been reading it. Like, when I got into it, issue 5 had just dropped. So I went back and bought the first 4. Because accidentally 5 slipped through into my pull list. And I was like, oh, what's this? And I was like, oh, well, I got to get the other 4. So I went back to my shop. They had them. They gave them to me. Then I bought them. So it's like, the last 36 issues, I've been reading this for 3 years. Like, over 3 years now. And it's like, come on now. Like, so I'm not coming from this as someone who's already got it in their head to talk shit about Miles Morales. I am at the standpoint of, I enjoyed reading these comics, and now I'm starting not to. And I'm getting kind of tired of Miles being put all over the place. Because if someone who's a fan of the comic is starting to, how do you think the people who aren't fans are going to feel? You know, they need to know how to tone things down and condense things. That's the issue with Marvel and DC. They don't condense things. There's too much multiverse, time travel, too many runs, characters all on different, things, but it's not the same one that's in this. That was the issue they had with X-Men for the longest time. We had Wolverine. So you had the regular X-Men comic, Wolverine's in that. Then you had Wolverine and the X-Men, and you had Wolverine on his own in his own run, and then he was showing up in Avengers stuff, and it's like, but it wasn't the same. It was, totally still Wolverine, but all those issues, they weren't like married together where you could see, okay, he's doing stuff over here, and then it's like, oh, he wasn't in this issue. That's because he was over here doing something. The character wasn't moving around. The character was just replicated, copy paste all over. That's why I like a lot of this other indie stuff. This is why right now I have issue 5 and 6 of Rogue Sun from Ryan Parrott, and these are amazing. This is what I want comics to be. This is what I want my superhero comics to be. In, very Power Ranger Toku themed, but just good, condensed, isolated, and just good, consistent stories. I want consistency. I don't want jumbled messes jumping all around. I want chronologically canon, like all this stuff to just make sense. Like, I want, like, I'd say I could give issue 5. I'm not gonna do 6 because I need to read 6. I've read 5 digitally. I want it, you get 5. Give it to my friend. Be like, yo, check this out. Check out this issue 5 of Rogue Sun. I'll be like, yo, that hit, right? That was good. He'll be reading, be like, yo, what is this comic? You look at these pages. You're like, bro, what is all that? Like, this is, like, this artwork. So good. And they'll be like, yo, what's good with that artwork? I'm like, oh, you mean Abel Simone? Like, Abel over in here dominating with that artwork. That artwork will lure you in. Okay? And then you got Ryan Parrott writing it. And the consistency. Go Power Rangers. Then went up to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Then when they split, he was doing just Power Rangers. Then he was over here doing Rogue Sun and teaming up with freaking Kyle Higgins again. And I don't even need to talk about Kyle Higgins because we know what I'm going to say. Okay? Like, that's this, like, these are the comics I will tell my friends to go check out. Like, even if it's something I know, like, they might dabble in, it's like it's not their favorite genre type. I'm like, no, trust me, this will get you into it. I got a lot of friends in the Power Rangers again when Power Rangers started back up as a comic book with Boom. A lot of my friends who hadn't watched since season 3, since Zeo. Maybe they watched, Turbo, but like they hadn't watched in a long time, and they're like, yo, this comic's good. I'm like, I know, right? They hit the nostalgia in the beginning, then they hit you with this big world building shattered grid, and you're like, holy shit, this is good. So yeah, then something like this, like House of Slaughter, issue 7. We got part 2 of Scarlet. This is one House of Slaughter, which is a part of the Something is Killing the Children like universe. So good. One of my favorite, like, Boom with that. They're doing so good. Boom is the publisher to look out for. They are putting out so much stuff. Like, right now, I'd probably say Boom and Image, for me, are just, like, up here. That's where I'm pulling most of my comics from right now. Mainly Image, because they have, you know, a lot of other stuff. They have like Radiant Black House and stuff like that, and Rogue Sun and stuff like that. But like Boom and Image are my two favorite publishers right now. And speaking of Image, I had to go in and I got Radiant Black issue 16. I mean, I got a lot of stuff in this universe. I mean, we got the 2 Rogue Sun ones. I got Radiant Black, and now I got issue 4 of 5 for Radiant Red. And now I got 5 of 5 for Radiant Red. So that's done. Dude, like this whole Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, Radiant Red, this stuff is so good. Check it out. Don't sleep on it. Please go get these comics. Read them. They're so good. And then I'm going to end it with Jeff Lemire, because I did a review of issue 1 of this. And then I keep reading them and forgetting to do more reviews. But Little Monsters number 5 is so good. This is such a good freaking comic. And I wasn't even really into vampire stuff like that. I really wasn't. That was kind of outs for me. I said it in my review. But I'm really enjoying this issue. I'm really enjoying this run, this comic, this new IP that Image has given us. Image and Boom Studios are 2 comic book companies that literally are just nipping at the heels of Marvel and DC. They are knocking on the door of Mount Olympus, and they're stealing the thunder of Zeus, because they are putting out such quality comics that I'm buying multiple covers for, which I said I wasn't going to do anymore. Putting out comics that don't have so many spin-offs in major events and this and that. All isolated stories. And that's like something I'm going to beat a dead horse with. Isolated stories, which is what needed in comics. I'm not trying to go crazy trying to figure out what, you know, what's going on in these stories. Pick up and read these and enjoy them. But yeah, that's my comics. That's my comics. So what I'm gonna do really quick is I'm gonna do a cool little transition. It's gonna go like this. If you're watching, I did a little thing, and it's gonna show my video that I did of going over the honeymoon haul of toys and merch, and then we're gonna come right back here, and I'm gonna talk about some TwitchCon and a couple other events, and then that'll be it for the episode. So let's switch right over to that video of Mark from the past, well, yesterday, going over what I bought on the honeymoon. All right, so this is a separate recording. I recorded this ahead of time. This is just before the podcast episode, so this is interjected into this week's podcast episode. I am actually going to be going over everything I bought while I was on my honeymoon in New York. I'm not including stuff we bought for like the apartment, like, you know, cool stuff to have on display. This is just like my nerdy stuff for my collection. So this has nothing to do with our overall apartment. Like, there's stuff over there for display and like stuff like that. That's not in this. This is just my stuff that's going to be over here with my collection. So to make it more organized, I'm going to go over all my manga that I picked up first, because, you know, I bought a fair amount of manga. A fair amount. I went to a lot of bookstores, you know, that while I was in New York, we went to, you know, I'm forgetting the names off the top of my head. I'm probably going to go over them more in detail in the podcast. So if you want to see the full detail of like more in-depth stuff we did, how, you know, everything else, that's going to be in this week's episode of A Nerd Named Mark podcast. This is strictly going to be a separate video as well of a part of the podcast. So yeah, start with the manga. So I picked up volume 1 of this manga called Monstabu. It looked really intriguing. I looked at the back of it, I read it, I was like, you know what, this is something I'm gonna read. And I'm not gonna go over all the story of the mangas in this video. This is just the haul only. I have something planned involving manga and anime that's not on the back burner. It was on the back burner, now it's being on the front burner. It's coming to fruition, it's simmering, it's almost ready. Then I picked up this new manga that just started called, well, at least it says, it's newer, called Colorless. I got volume 1 of that. Uh, it's funny because, like, the whole suit and everything on the cover, that kind of, like, drew me into it. And obviously, these are all the same bookstore that I was at. They actually keep all their manga shrink wrapped, regardless of rating of it, because they don't want people to read it. Then, a manga I did a video about before, which I'm ready to finally do a full story review for. Superwoman in Love Volume 4 finally dropped, which is the finale, I believe, and this is from Seven Seas. I did a video going over the first volume or two, and how I was like, this caught my eye, and it's really good. Then, also, the Naoko Takushi Collection Sailor Moon Volume 3 dropped. Had to pick that up, because, I do enjoy. I am a Sailor Moon fan. Then during the wedding, I had friends coming out, flying out. My friend Andrew, who lives in on the West Coast, flew out for the wedding because the wedding was in Connecticut. And he's like my go. We always talk manga this night. He's my go-to manga person and anime. He always makes recommendations to me, and I do the same. I got him into Kaiju number 8, which is my claim to fame now. Because, like, yeah, he got into it. By the way, I did pick up volume 3. That was already on the shelf. I picked it up actually like a day or two before I left. So it's not a part of this. But he recommended Time Stop Hero to me. So I got volume 1 and 2 of that. And there's a piece of paper stuck to it. So I got volumes 1 and 2 of Time Stop Hero. He said it's something that would appeal to me because it's funny. I like hilarious manga and anime. Then another one that I've been reading, volume 3 dropped, and it's called My Lovey-Dovey Wife is a Stone Cold Killer. And my now wife was making fun of me. She's like, why are you getting a manga like that? And I'm like, have you not seen my manga collection? All right, like, do we not know the obscure, like, types of manga I read? And going back to the more stuff, I got Comey Can't Communicate volume 2 and 3. I found those. I got these actually at Book Off in New York. So I was like, yay, because the downside is volume 2 or 3 does have some discoloration on the pages, but that does not bother me because I have not been able to find volume 2 or 3 anywhere. So those are happily going in my collection as well. And going all the way back to Andrew, because Andrew always recommends stuff to me. I'm a fan of My Dress Up Darling. I have all the released volumes, 1 through 5, because that's all it's been released physically. And I couldn't find 3 anywhere. Like, it's been haunting my shelf. And so he found it while he was in Connecticut, because he got to have more time to explore. So he picked me up volume 3 for me, because I couldn't find it. And then funny story is, when we were out, because, we landed yesterday, we had to get some groceries, handle some business, because we've been gone for almost 2 weeks. I went into random Barnes & Noble like I normally do. That's where I normally get manga. And they had all 5 volumes, multiple of each one. And I was like, oh, they hadn't had any in stock for months, and now all of a sudden they do. And then last but not least, another recommendation that I picked up was Otakoi, Love is Hard for Otakus, Volume 1. Another recommendation by Andrew. Andrew always recommends stuff that he knows I'll like. We have very similar tastes in anime and manga. He reads more manga and watches more anime than me. So there's some stuff that doesn't overlap with our tastes in that stuff, but he recommended that to me. This was actually, I got halfway through it. This was my my plane reading while I was on the plane, because there was a lot of flying. That's it for manga. Not too bad. I mean, we got, what, 4, 6, 8, 11 volumes of manga I bought. So that's, not too bad. I'm gonna go into video games next. So I picked up 3 games. I went to Nintendo New York, but also Book Off. And at Nintendo New York, I got Live a Live, or Live Alive, Live a Live. I don't know. That's what, like, it. I started playing it on the plane. Really appealing. I'm enjoying it. I do like that OG style Square Enix RPGs. So this hits the nostalgia, and with, modern, crisp, clean, I guess, retro graphics. But it's been a lot of fun. I put about 7 or 8 hours into it so far. And then I picked up the newer AI, the Somnium Files, the Nirvana Initiative. I have the first game that I have to finish, but I had to pick that up. And then another one that I haven't found it physical, and I want, like, I don't buy a lot of digital Switch games, okay? Let's be real. I don't. But I did finally get the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles as well. This was at Book Off, and not a bad price on it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it. Why not? Because I don't really see that stuff. Next up, I found randomly at a Target of all places while I was back home. I found the gold label Lex Luthor Power Suit. Oh, it's so good. This makes me so happy. The box got a little damage flying, but he's not staying in the box, so it doesn't matter. I'm a big Lex Luthor fan. I think he's one of the better DC villains. I think he's one of the best non overpowered Superman villains, because you know you had Doomsday and there's Darkseid stuff and everything else, but and Brainiac and Zod. But outside of Zod, Lex Luthor is one of my favorite DC villains. I think my top three would be Lex Luthor, General Zod, and Sinestro. Those are like my top three favorite DC villains. And now, so my wife, because I'm married, I can do that now. She's the whole entire time we're like, all right, we're going on honeymoon, we're going to New York. The whole time she's like, I gotta go to FAO Schwartz. I gotta go to FAO Schwartz. And for those of you who follow me on social media, you saw some posts where they had the what is that company called? The Iron Studios. I forget what it's called. I think it's the Iron. Yeah, Iron Studios. They had that Power Ranger display, and I put out a little thing on Instagram. I was like, someone convinced me not to buy this whole set. And doing the math, it was 900 plus tax. And I was like, I kind of want to get it. I kind of want to get it. But traveling, I realized those boxes they come in are huge. I'm not taking them out of the box to travel. I want to keep them in the boxes. So I was like, I'll just order them online at some point. So I didn't get those, but I did get this Mini Co. Lion-O from Thundercats Classic. I love Thundercats so much. And it's funny because they had, you know, Chitara, they had Panthro, and they had Tigra. But I was like, I need to get Lion-O. I need to get Lion-O. This is gonna, I can't wait to take this out of the box, put it on my display. That was a no-brainer purchase for me, because I was just like, yes, please, give me that Lion-O. Like, I want it now. And then I actually got something not nerdy. So we went to Hard Rock, and that's where we got, you know, you guys gotta get something New York, and Hard Rock is, you know, I like Hard Rock. I like the actual cafe. I like the food. The food is actually pretty good. But I did get the H2 Audio bottle speaker. This is for work, so Bluetooth speaker with a water bottle, so I can stay hydrated and annoy my coworkers with my music and podcasts. Yeah, this was just not nerdy, but this was more like, okay, I need that. That's hilarious. And they were running some good deals there. As a soccer fan, they had a lot of messy stuff, and I was like, nope, not gonna do it. Like, I'll go broke. But now we're getting into the nerdy stuff. So first off, I found this SH Figure Art Machine Ghost Striker. As you know, Ghost is one of my favorite Kamen Rider seasons. So being able to find this is really good because I have the SH Figure Arts for Ghost. So now I can have his motorcycle to go with it. Because not a lot of the seasons got their bikes released. I have the main ones I have for bikes. I have the Cyclone one from back, you know, OG, you know, Kamen Rider. Then I have Garen's from Blade, because I got that combo pack. And then I also have one other one, but it's in one of my boxes, not on display, so I don't know off the top of my head. And continuing the trend of Ghost, I also found an old school candy toy from years ago, from 2015, for Ghost. And it's actually the little cloak stand display thing. So it's everything's in there. It's sealed. What they do is, how Book Up does it. If you bring in a candy toy, and this is a spoiler for so you bring in one of these candy toys, they don't leave them in the boxes sometimes. Like, if it's something like this, they open it up, make sure everything's in there, and then they cut the piece out that has the instructions, and then they put it in little baggies like this. So I got this. Anytime I can find older candy toys, I will grab them instantly, and it's ghost related, so I was like, hell yeah. And obviously the rest of stuff is a lot of Toku stuff. So I did get the Deno Climax form from the B Shop Toys, where you piece all the armor on it. It's gonna look really good. I paid 30. I was like, 30 is a decent price. That's the average. That's kind of the price they're going for. Sometimes you might be able to heckle them down lower online with an eBay seller, send them an offer, but 30 is the consistent price for those. So I was like, you know what, that's not bad. I haven't seen one of those in person before. The book off in New York was phenomenal. Honestly, I didn't. That's actually everything I bought there from. I wanted to get more, but some of the stuff was overpriced. Some of the stuff was too large of boxes, and I was like, you know what, like can't travel with these. Gotta be very conscious of what I gotta bring with me. Um, so around some other shops around town, I found some candy toys. So I did get the Adad from the Converge Ultraman from the anime. So that completes my anime collection for Ultraman from the Netflix show. And then I did get my two Kiva forms. Oh, for the freaking Converges also. Um, oh, and they weren't bad price either. I think I paid like $6 each. And then to round out my lineup of the Ultraman Converge Motion first wave, I finally got this bad boy right here. I believe that's Joe, King Joe or whatever. I forgot the name. I always forget the names because I remember too much stuff. But getting that to finalize and finish off my Converge Motion Wave 1 of Ultraman, that made me really happy. And now, I have one more item, which is probably one of my favorite items. But before I get into that, I bought the wall art collection from My Hero Academia. And I don't know what's in it because it's blind box. So I'm going to open this and we're going to see what I get. Because for this wave, it has Midoriya, Bakugo, Ochako, Toga, Dabi, and Shigaraki. I'm hoping for Shigaraki. That's what I'm hoping for. Or Bakugo. But mainly that's the one. But all of them look cool, so I wouldn't be mad if I got any of them, honestly. There you go. My X-Acto knife. I bought a new knife, X-Acto knife, because I'm going to be doing a lot more Gunpla stuff and everything else. Gentle, gentle. Alright, guys. I got Toga. I'm not mad. Toga is a great villain, and obviously, anime evil waifu. That's gonna go on display. I want to get all of them. I might just buy them individually, like offline, just to get them, like buying, like because I really want the whole set. But how I'm gonna be organizing all my new shelves with all my manga and anime Blu-rays and DVDs, that I have the little stuff like that. I'm gonna be starting getting into like this because that's going towards my display stuff. And actually, I just realized I have three more things. So, while me and Andrew, we got to hang out. I didn't like with the wedding. I didn't have a lot of time to hang out with all my friends and like family beforehand. You know, it was really rushed. And then like the day after the wedding, honeymoon. So, Andrew, I haven't seen since 2019. You know, he usually comes down. He like 2 years in a row, he came down to visit. Stayed with us because we have, you know, a pretty big place, and it was nice. And so we had hung out like over 3 years. So I was like, oh, let's go be nerds. Let's go find some shit. Like that's where we got some of the manga. Like we were just going all over the place, like checking out nerdy stores, eating food. And then we're at Newberry Comics, which is my old stomping grounds. And we both picked up the Spider-Man, Toei Japanese Spider-Man little Funko soda collectibles. And I made the joke. I was like, man, I want the chase so bad. And he's like, watch, I'm going to get the chase. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, watch, I'm going to swap cans with you when you're not looking. And then so go back to the hotel room. He's in his hotel room doing stuff. I'm getting my shit organized. And I go and open mine. It's normal one. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And he's like, oh, that's cool. He's like, I think I got the chase because I had the thing in it. So I'm going to show you really quick. These things are a pain to open. If I can get it open. Ooh, there we go. This is my one of 16,700. So this is the regular Toei Spider-Man. Obviously, I got it. That's gonna be on. You gotta add that. And then here we go. Here is with Andrew's luck. I know it looks normal. You got the glowing one. One of 3,300. So yeah, Chase, regular. There's some slight color differentials. Like the Chase is darker. But yeah, I was like, oh man, I was like, you got the Chase, and but then like we're getting ready, like everything's leaving, everything's done because he's got to fly out this night. And he gave me the Chase, and I was like, no, you can't give me the Chase. He's like, yeah, it's a wedding present. Here's the Chase. I was like, fuck. But he knows that I like Toei Spider-Man. He knows I'm a fan of Tokusatsu. That's my wheelhouse. So I thought that was really cool. That's why I have good friends, And so this is actually one of my favorite things because I don't do a lot of Funkos. I don't do stuff like this for the collection. I have some Funkos, like I have all the Ultraman ones that were released. I have a couple convention exclusive Dragon Ball Z ones, and then a few non ones like Tien and Chaozu, because Tien's one of my favorite Dragon Ball characters. So yeah, these are now in the collection, and I'm happy about that. And the last item, something me and my wife really share like a common love for, besides Lord of the Rings and a lot of some comic book movies, is Harry Potter. So we went to Harry Potter New York, and we spent a lot of money. A lot of money. I bought gifts for like my mom. My mom's a big Harry Potter fan, so I bought her some wands and some decorations for the house. And for me, I was like, all right, I'll get a shirt. That's it. I'll get my Slytherin shirt because that's my house. And then I was like, I want one wand because we are gonna go to Wizarding World, but I want one wand while we're here. And I went, obviously, had to get the homie, had to get the Lord Voldemort wand. Oh, it's so good. It's so clean. And this was like one of my favorite things. And it was just, going to book off and me getting anime and manga and stuff like that. That's, my kind of thing. That's not really my wife's, but the fact that like we both really genuinely enjoy and love Harry Potter. So us getting to go to that store was like one of my favorite things we got to do together. But yeah, that's it for all the stuff I got. If you're watching this on its own on YouTube, I thank you guys for watching. This part of the podcast, we're gonna switch back over, and I'm gonna finish going over all my podcast episode. I'm gonna finish the episode. So let's do like that Scooby-Doo, like they did, and get back over there. All right, so now I'm back to talk about conventions. So obviously, San Diego Comic-Con happened. We have Crunchyroll Expo, which is coming up this weekend. I'm not going because I just took 2 weeks off from work, and I can't take another vacation. I really can't, and I just don't want to drive all the way up there. It's hot, and gas prices are ridiculous. It's one of the things that I was like, man, this is my issue, gas prices. But at the end of the month is Power Morphicon. I'm still on the fence about that. I don't know. I might go up for one day. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. I got friends who are going to be up there. K20 Customs, who was a guest on the show here for Nerd Name Mark podcast. He's going to be out here for Power Morphicon, and I'm like, I got to hit him up. I got to say hi. I got to see what's up, And other friends, too, that are going to be there. And I was like, I want to go. I might just go for one day, and that's it. Like, also, I don't have convention stamina anymore. Like, anytime I go to conventions now, I'm usually working the convention. I'm either working a booth. Like, I've done Extra Life, Operation Supply Drop, Toy Logic. I've done stuff for, like, Happy Dungeons on the Xbox at TwitchCon. I've done things with Streamlabs and their booth. Like, that's what I like to do at conventions. I don't have the stamina to just go to a convention and walk around all day. I really don't. I also see conventions as, getting to see my friends, network, line up some stuff, get some people on the podcast, collaborate, just make friends and this and that, like, and then buy merch. That's my thing. So Power Morphicon is probably just going to be one day for me. And then the main thing I want to talk about conventions is because TwitchCon. So, in case anyone's been living under a rock and doesn't know what's been happening in the world for the last couple of years, something called COVID, it happened, and it's still happening. TwitchCon announced they're not doing mask mandates or vaccination mandates for TwitchCon here in San Diego, which is getting a lot of people mad, and rightfully so. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion and to mad. Me, honestly, if there's a mask mandate, I'll still wear the mask. If there isn't one, I'm not gonna wear it. I did my due diligence. I followed the rules. You know, I just, it's everyone's choice. If there's not a mask mandate, you want to be safe, you wear a mask. You want to protect yourself and others, you wear a mask. If there's a vaccine mandate, you can't be huffy, be like, I don't have the vaccine, but I want to go. It's like, well, then you know what you have to do to go. That's the thing. My issue is for all the people saying, I can't believe they don't care about people's safety, and I'm like, listen, do you know who owns Twitch? Amazon. You know who doesn't care about people's safety? Amazon. Do you know who likes money? Amazon. Do you know who made a shit ton of money in the last 2 years when we were on quarantine and stay-home orders, and the only places that were open were grocery stores, Costco, and Target? You know who made a shit ton of money? Amazon. Okay? You think they care about the health of people who want to go to TwitchCon? No, they don't. You know what they're gonna care though? When the tickets go on sale, right? And the numbers are so low, they're like, wow, we're only seeing like a 33 to 35% retention of attendees compared to last time. Why is no one coming? Then you know what they're gonna do? They're like, we've talked to the venue and some of our advertisers and blah blah blah. We've decided we are gonna make a vaccine mandate for TwitchCon 2022 or a mask mandate. They're gonna change it if the sales are low enough. So I predict if the sales are 40% total, like of the last previous attendance, only 40% are going, and they see a 60% dip in attendance, they're definitely going to make the changes, because then everyone's like, oh look, they do care about us. We will buy our tickets now. It's like, they didn't care about you, child. Oh, sweet summer child. The ignorance is bliss, isn't it? They aren't doing this because they care about you. They have a 60% like dip in profits and a dip in attendance. They want that 60% to show up. They want to break the records. Be like, hey, this is the largest attendance in TwitchCon history. And they want it, the money. That's what they want. So if you want to go to TwitchCon and you're mad that they're not doing the vaccine or mask mandate, and you're going to be hypocritical and still go, okay, that's cool. But don't preach that you're mad about it when you're still going to go. But if you don't buy your ticket, and everyone else doesn't buy their ticket, guess what? They're going to not. They're going to put they're going to make it a mandate for you to have vaccination proof, or a mask, or at least a proof of a COVID negative. They're going to make you do that stuff. Then everyone will be happy and buy their tickets. And then Amazon and Twitch will be happy because they'll make their money. Regardless, they're going to make money. But they're going to go the least effort route first to see how much they can make before they actually care to make changes to get more money. That's how this works. Listen, this is my first time dealing with the pandemic stuff in conventions, but I've been going to conventions since 2006. It is 2022. I've been doing this shit for 16 years, almost 17 years. I've seen all situations of possibilities when conventions do like bullshit. Okay, I've seen it. I've been to conventions all across the country. It happens. So don't be surprised in about a couple weeks when ticket sales are really low, attendance is at a record low, that we're going to get an official statement from Twitch about TwitchCon 2022 in San Diego. And they'll probably change their tune. And then all the people that were mad today and yesterday, they're going to start retweeting. Twitch, listen to us. See, they care. It's like, no, their bank accounts were kind of low. They need to add some on there. So they're like, let's get some money. But that's really it for that. Like, I mean, I have an extensive history of working conventions and going to conventions, so I am currently in talks with some companies on who I might possibly work with while at TwitchCon. Like I said, I'm done doing press and media for a lot of conventions. TwitchCon really isn't a convention where I would do press or media for it, anyways. If anything, like a Comic Con, yes. Anime convention, yes. Power Morphicon, I don't know, because I would want to, and I could, technically. But I feel like that's just not like if I'm gonna go for one day, I'm not gonna do press or media. I want to go, like I said, get some autographs, get some photo ops, see some friends, shoot the shit, then go explore Pasadena and LA with the wife, and go, do stuff like that. So that's more in gear of what I would rather do. I don't know yet. I haven't made the decision. I'm probably gonna make the decision in the next day or two. See about work, see about some sick time and vacation time, and see what we can work out. Um, but yeah, oh man, this was a long episode. I missed being around for 2 weeks. Honestly, like it was like listen, I enjoyed. I'm not trying to downplay like my life situation, everything that happened. Like this has been like the happiest I've been in a really long time. And all of you who listened to the podcast before I started the video stuff, you heard the inflection of my voice and the tone of my voice when, in 2020 when I got furloughed and, you know, California fucked up my unemployment, so I was getting no money. It took me almost 2.5 months to get unemployment to like get their shit in order to give me money. So you guys heard what it was like. You a lot of you longtime listeners, and if you want you can go back and listen too, like were there and you saw me at such a low point, and I'm happy to share such a high point in my life with those of you who are either watching on video or listening to the podcast. I'm really happy to share such a happy moment in my life because you saw me 2 years ago at a very low point where I was just dialing it in and I was faking it until I make it, And now, like, that, like, there's only like a few times where I've been this happy in my life. And it was just, I'm just, but I'm glad. I don't know how to convey it. I don't know how to put it in words, and it kind of bothers me because like I'm so good with my words as a writer and this and that. Like I'm usually a wordsmith. I can spin anything, PR machine, and it's just like so happy like with the milestone in my life that like I actually don't know how to put it in words. And I'm sure a lot of people who are newlyweds or just got like they know what I'm trying to say. But and just to see my friends too, that made me so happy too. Because like my friends, my cousins, like, and my aunt, my aunt who has had so many health complications over the last 2.5 years, like free, heart surgery, being in the hospital, like not like having breathing issues with COVID and everything. Like, so getting to see all of them, like that just kind of like invigorated me. It freaking fueled me to keep going with every aspect of my life back at 120%. And, so I appreciate like everyone who took the time to comment, congratulations on the wedding. Those of you who DM me and message me directly. Some of you even hit me up on the podcast email saying congratulations on the wedding. Dude, glad, like, so happy for you guys. Glad to see you happy. Like, stuff like that. Like, I've said it before in the past. When people send me emails and DMs, people who I don't know, going out of their way to, like, show some level of support or care or this and that. Like, when I had issues going on, 2 years ago, people asked me, you good? You sound different. You sound not like you. I remember every single person who does that still. I don't need to pull the email up. I remember who you are. And it means a lot to me. So I appreciate every single one of you who watches on YouTube, who downloads the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or iHeartRadio, or all the other platforms. I'm not doing the spiel yet. I'll do that in the close. I appreciate all of you. I really do. And got a lot of stuff planned. Got a lot of stuff planned. It's just finding time, resources to get some stuff done. But with that being said, appreciate all of you. And I thank you guys for checking out episode 123 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. It can now be found on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pod Republic, Podbean, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. You can watch on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a little button down there. If it's red and it says subscribe, if you click it, something happens. It says subscribed. And then I get a notification saying, hey, you got a new subscriber. And then the amount of subscribers goes up. And then I'm just like, ooh, more people that watch my stuff. So I appreciate that as well when people do that. But I thank you guys for watching. This has been episode 123 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. My name is Mark, and I'm a nerd.